This is the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting.
I will call the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and it's Tuesday, October 30th, 2018. We need to do a roll call. And a month since we used this, haven't we run all over?
For a month.
That's right.
We have 25 present, 1 absent, 1 vacant.
And the open meeting statement will be fulfilled, clerk?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Today, when we stand for a silent meditation and pledge, as you're looking up here, you will already see this beautiful flag donated by Mr. Fleece, New London. That's his donation to the county board. It's beautiful. Thank you, Bob. So let's please stand for a moment of silent meditation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, number 5 is the agenda. Ms. Fredwitz?
Yes, regarding the agenda, I believe we need to switch around again the resolutions and the ordinances, so I believe that's what, 8 to 9?
Yes, it
I
is.
would make a motion that we would have these, switch those around before we approve the amended agenda, or the agenda.
Okay, there is that motion by Mr. Fredwitz. You have a second? Mr. Quiston? Motion by Mr. Quiston. Please vote.
Did Mr. Ellis?
I'm saying yay, but I'm being challenged. Just,
Last chance to vote. Motion to amend the agenda passes 25 to 0.
Thank you. For all you visitors out there, just so you know that we went to an electronic system here maybe a half a year ago already. And we didn't bring our grandkids along today to help us. That helped us through this. But we're learning. Every meeting we're learning it. Okay, we'll need a motion to approve the amended agenda then. Mr. Murphy?
Move to approve the amended agenda.
There's a motion by Mr. Murphy to approve the amended agenda. Is there a second? Mr. Mork? And a second by Mr. Mork. Please vote.
Supervisor Zahn? Are you voting?
Yeah. Says I voted aye.
Could you change it, like you're gonna change it and go back, please? Thank you. Last chance to vote. Motion carries on the amended agenda 25 to 0.
Okay, so now it brings us down to the resolutions. Number 9 is, I'm sorry, the minutes of the meeting of September 18th. It seems like a long time ago, 18. Their approval for the minutes, past minutes. Mr. Dodd?
I move we approve this previous meeting.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Dodd to approve those minutes. Is there a second? Jan Lair?
Second.
and a second by Supervisor Lair. Any questions regarding that? Seeing none, please vote. Just trying to rush us along again, I'm sorry.
Thank
Thank you, Lee.
you. You take the pressure off. Thank you.
Heidi? Heidi Dombrowski is our finance director, has been here a number of years, and just does an excellent job. She's got a huge job. So today she's going to be reading the 2019 proposed budget. Good morning, Heidi.
Good morning. Now I have to learn how to use this clicker, just like you all have to learn how to use your iPads every month. So, good morning. Today I'm going to be reading the 2019 proposed budget. A lot of work has gone into this budget. Each committee of jurisdiction has reviewed the detail of the programs that their oversight on, and then Pat has passed it on to the finance, and the finance has reviewed this budget and is passing it on for you to the county board to approve in November. So just as we walk through the proposed budget, see that clicker. The 2019 proposed budget has a $1,017,180 tax levy increase, which is about a 3.74% from the 2018 adopted budget. And really, there's one story here, and we're going to kind of talk about that story through the whole reading here, but the capital improvement portion of this budget increases the levy by $1.3 million. Another increase that we have is in the Transportation Services Fund. I think we all remember the April storm. So the Transportation Services Fund is seeing a pretty strong hit in the 2018 budget. So we are trying to restore some funds back in that area of $353,000. The Capital Improvement Fund, we are restoring $164,000. That's really to offset any capital expenditures that may have been not, you put together a pretty big capital improvement plan. So the thought process is that you have a little funds extra for any projects that may go over. And of course, if those funds aren't used, we'll utilize that for future capital improvements. We increased the contingency fund and the general fund by $50,000. That really is to offset the decreases, the operating side of things and any unforeseen things that may occur in 2019. The special purpose library aids increased $42,943, and all other operating impacts was about $237,685. So to offset that, we are increasing our estimation for sales tax by $226,068. That's a 6.25% increase over the 2018 adopted budget, but a 2% increase over what we are estimating to actually come in for 2018. State shared revenue has increased $10,629. We have a new revenue in 2018, kind of. It's called the personal property aid. This was actually a reduction on the levy limit worksheet. So there's a actual revenue for $78,271 to offset that levy limit reduction. Interest on investments, interest rates are increasing, so we're estimating $298,000 increase to interest on investments. In the expenditure side of things, the non-capital outlay decreased by $202,995 in the budget. And then debt service repayments actually decreased $373,810. So overall, that's what the impact is on the 2019 proposed budget. In addition to the increase of the property tax, we also saw a pretty significant increase to our equalized value. That increased $108,736,300, or 2.71% increase. So that really equates to a net rate of 1% increase overall to the taxpayer for $6 and rounding up $6.86. So that, if you can look at the bottom portion of that, there's the property tax levy. You can see where the changes are. Again, in the capital area, 1.3 million. So the total operating expenditures are at 5.3584. That's what's applied to the operating levy. Our debt service levy actually is decreasing the 373, and then the special purpose levies. So with a net rate of 6.8637. So what does that mean? For really illustration purposes, median home value in Waupaca County, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, is $137,700. So if you take that home value times your tax rate divided by 1,000, you can see that a homeowner that of $137,700 fair market value should expect to pay $9.31 more in 2019 than what they did in 18. The next slide, I'm kind of showing just a snapshot of a 5-year trend. What we're actually have levied over the past 5 years for the tax rate. And then the levy capacity is on the bottom half. What I really want to call attention to is the unused operating capacity. We've talked about this through the last couple of years and few months quite significantly. So our unused capacity in 2019 is actually 1.2 million, which is a reduction from 2018 of 1,083,000. That's like right in this area. Basically what we're trying to do is pay cash for capital and not issue debt for that. So that's so we're gradually reducing the amount of unused capacity and trying to pay cash upfront for those capital expenditures. So if we were to use our full capacity, it would be an additional 31 cents for the taxpayer, a $7.17 tax rate. So obviously we wouldn't be able to take our full capacity at this time, but we're at least working towards that process. Net changes and fund balances, just wanted to recap on that. The budget's calling for usage of about $330,000 of restricted funds for the jail improvements. We anticipate a collection of $55,000, and then we're utilizing $385,000 of that restricted jail improvement funds for one of the capital projects for a net impact of $330,000. Restricted funds for land records, they'll be receiving a grant of $25,000 that will be restricted for future capital projects for that area in future budgets. Assigned for elections, now we talk about elections almost every year. It either goes up or down, what we're either utilizing. Because of the impact of elections every other year, we try to stabilize that tax levy, and 1 year we'll restore fund balance, the next year we'll utilize it so that that tax levy doesn't have that huge impact every other year. We talked about the transportation services, we're restoring $353,000 there. Health and Human Services is utilizing $215,418 of fund balance. $66,000 of that is for anticipated short-term out-of-home placements, and the remainder is really in the aging programs for 8521 transportation and the congregate and home delivered meals. In the capital improvement fund, we're restoring the $164,334 for capital improvements. As far as the general fund is concerned, that's the one we talk about most significantly. In 2018, we had actually amended the budget to pay for that 2011 debt series. So when that amendment was made, we had really anticipated that that fund balance was going to be at $6.3 million at the end of 2018. Based upon estimations, I believe that that fund will actually come in at about a $7.8 million ending fund balance for 18, which means that we're still going to be about 5% above our policy in the unassigned fund balance through the 2018 budget process. We are not utilizing any unassigned fund balances for the 2019 budget process, so that those funds would be also available if we needed for capital improvements for the future. if we can maintain the budget the way it is. And I told you the biggest story in this budget is obviously funding capital improvements. The county owns, between the enterprise fund of the highway and the governmental funds, the county maintains $188 million in assets. And that's what that does is to maintain those assets, it causes for a capital improvement plan. Now, during the 2018 budget, you can remember that we had really 3 decisions on the table to make during that process. And it was either to continue to issue debt service to fund the capital improvement program, utilize the county's unused debt capacity, or utilize the combination of both the county's unused capacity and cash reserves. So what we did is, due to the impact to the taxpayer, we chose option 3, and we took and utilized fund balances in areas, or cash reserves, and also increased levy to offset to fund the 2018 capital improvement program. The difference for 19 is now we're taking the next step, and we're not using cash reserves to fund the capital improvement program, but yet we're going to use tax levy to support the capital improvement program. So that's really where the story is. You have, as you can see off here, in 2018 we used $4.6 million of cash reserves to fund the capital improvement program. And in 2019, the only cash reserves that we're using are the restricted funds of $385,000 to fund the jail improvement program. So that's where you're seeing a majority of the increase in the levy. I'm gonna get this. Wow. Okay. So I just kind of wanted to give you a snapshot from 2012 to 2019 what we have done for capital. And you can see that the orange section of that graph shows you what capital we paid by issuing debt. The blue section is how we paid it with other funds. And then in 2018, that gray section is we applied fund balance and did not issue any debt. You can see that in the orange. And then now in 2019, we're proposing to lift that up and to actually fund the capital improvement program with our unused capacity for levy. By maintaining a strong 5-year capital improvement plan, this enables the county to strategically plan the best approach to fund the program. So it's really important that we maintain a very strong 5-year capital improvement plan at a minimum so that we're able to visualize where we're headed and how we're going to be funding that program. In 2000, I'm just going to kind of back up and talk to you about how we got to where we're at. In 2011, we issued $13.3 million for 2012 to 2014 capital improvement. And that issuance was we had issuance costs of $67,265 and interest on a repayment schedule of $2.2 million. In 2014, we issued again almost $13.7 million for the 15 to 17 capital improvement plan, with an issuance cost of $72,941 and an interest repayment of $1.8. What I'm trying to show you here is, here's our actual debt levy, our applied debt levy to the levy limit, and our unused capacity. If you notice, we had the same amount of unused capacity as we issued in debt to pay for our capital in general terms. But our debt repayment schedule only paid off $5.6 million of that during that time frame on those 2 issuances. So you can see that we have, if somehow we can, that's what we've been talking about, if somehow we can utilize that unused capacity to pay for our capital, we would save interest costs and issuance costs over the long term and have more cash available to put towards the project themselves. So in this, you can see what happened was up until 2011, the county was able to structure level principal payments on its debt service, which meant that over a 10-year period, we were able to level pay off the principal. At the time of the 2011 issuance, because we had compounded the debt service, we had to restructure those debt service payments so that we were only paying 30% of those principal payments at the forefront. So just because we couldn't afford to do that much of a levy increase impact to the taxpayer. So because of all that past debt that we had taken on. So that is something that we had to take into consideration. Which this right here is the one that we just redeemed, which gave us the 6 million, which saved us the 6,060,000 in principal repayments for future years moving forward for the next 3 years. Now in 2002, that's really when the county started to move towards issuing debt for the capital improvement program. It really wasn't a program, we were just funding capital annually. And over that time, since 2002, we've issued $53.2 million in debt service to pay for the capital improvement program. That debt, by issuing that debt, we had almost $10 million in interest and issuance costs that we were basically committed to pay off those issuances. And you can see, based upon 85% of it went to actually pay for capital improvements, 14.82% went to interest payments on those capital improvements. And granted, this is a really long period of time, and it wasn't that it was the wrong decision to make at the time, it just was what we had to do at the time of those issuances, at the time to fund those capital improvements. So in 2018, we redeemed that debt, and we saved about $249,390 in interest on that. But then that freed up the $6,060,000 in principal payments also for 19, 20, and 21. So at the close of 2018, our debt service will be $37,300. Our outstanding debt will be $37,325. $37,325,000. You know, I actually go through this over and over again, so I don't do that, and I did it anyway. But what I wanted to note here is, I've said it numerous times, in 2024 to 2025, when this issue will be totally redeemed, we'll see an impact of a reduction to levy of $2.1 million between those 2 years. So that's kind of your key year there, is when you are going to see the past practice kind of drop off. Okay, I don't know about you, but there's something personal you should know about me. I hate roller coasters. I hate roller coasters. I hate heights, they scare me to death. To me, this is a roller coaster, and what I want to just be clear on is, moving forward under using this concept does not mean that we are not going to, it does not eliminate the opportunity to issue debt for capital improvements. But what we're doing is trying to eliminate that being the primary funding source. So basically, by creating a strong capital improvement plan, it provides the county the ability to be proactive in funding the plan. So you can see where we've been and where we're headed. So I think we can get off the roller coaster, but what I want to, so at any point we're not able to fund the capital improvement plan with our levy capacity, we still have the opportunity to issue the debt. It just is not going to become our primary funding source moving forward. Along with that, we need to continue to look at a 5-year financial management plan. In order for the county to maintain its strong financial position, we must continue to update and maintain that plan and look at where we're headed. The Finance Committee has already began looking at this process and intend on updating it, looking at it, and making sure that we're utilizing it to assist the county to making financial decisions as it pertains to operation and capital needs of the county. So this is where we kind of have been, and this is where we're headed. You've seen this slide numerous times. I'm just trying to still work in the numbers on what we're estimating for 18, how we're moving forward into 19, and what that looks like moving into the next 4 years after 19. What our capital improvement plan looks like, where the funding sources could possibly be, and where we're going to end on that, how we can continue to move forward in the right direction. I'm really, really excited about this process, and I hope that you understand what this means for us, and hopefully we can continue to move in this direction. Really, that's the story of the budget. It's all really in the capital area. We do have some reduction to the debt service, repayments, but overall, it's just funding the capital with the levy. And because we've utilized our cash reserves to pay existing debt and to pay for 18 capital, we really have to make the next step into moving into the direction of funding it with our unused capacity versus using more cash reserves, because then we put ourselves in a pretty negative position when it comes to cash reserves. Now that I have the budget is posted on the website, I'm hoping all of you did receive that email. There is a 540-page detail to it if you'd like to review all of that. Overall, it should be easily navigable. The other thing that I want to mention is on November 7th, the County Finance Committee will be meeting to actually pass on the resolution to adopt this budget in November. So I encourage you, if you have any questions, concerns, either meet with, talk to one of the Finance Committee members or contact myself and we can talk through those concerns and we can address them at that time. Other than that, I think, it's a pretty big book here. There's a lot to read. So if you have any specific questions or you want me to go further into the book, please let me know.
You have any questions? Mr. Fedowitz?
I just want to make a comment and appreciate, Heidi, everything that you showed up there. And I think it was a combination of a perfect storm that came together in the last year and a half that allowed us to make this change. Because if you think about it, from 2010 on, we were just rolling debt to keep the debt down so people didn't have to pay a lot of taxes. But there's a lot of things that came together here. Maybe it was a combination of not all good things with the nursing home being sold. We had set aside some money in the under transportation. The transportation fund had a little extra money. So there's about 5 key things that came together to allow us to get out of that rut and not pay interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Fedowitz. Supervisor Craig?
I just want to compliment Heidi. Being on the Finance Committee, I get to see all of these things, but thank you for making the printed version of the budget available to us before this meeting so we could go through it again, and then also giving us another summary, because sometimes we have to hear things once or twice or 3 times to get it. But I agree with with Supervisor Fedowitz. I think we're on the right path with not simply bonding for all the capital improvements. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Pat. Other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Heidi.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Supervisor Craig, can you turn off your request?
It isn't on my thing anymore.
No, I'll see if I can.
It says request to speak.
Okay, now we're on 9A, resolutions. A is resolution number 2318-19, dissolve capital improvement project impact committee.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors dissolves the CIP Impact Committee. This action will take place upon passage of this resolution.
Your motion for approval? Supervisor Zog.
I move we approve this resolution.
There's a motion by Supervisor Zog to approve.
Just 1 second, because I'm not. System went down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Warner.
Supervisor Moore.
Second motion.
And then second by Supervisor Moore. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Resolution number 24, 18-19, amend chapter 45 of the General Code of Ordinances, comprehensive plan map, Town of Scandinavia, Plum 070-18. Is there a motion for approval?
Not working yet.
Let me go back. Don't vote, please. Now? Now it's showing up.
Mr. Nygaard?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Nygaard to approve.
Okay, I gotta find you, Mr. Murphy.
Okay,
I request
second
to
by
speak
Mr.
isn't
Murphy.
on.
Terry Murphy.
Did you hit request to speak? No. Now?
No, it's gone.
I don't want you to vote. I just, I'm trying to get us back to. Yours appeared?
Oh, what's going on at all?
We're gonna have to do.
It comes on and off.
Yeah.
So go back.
When I go back and say it'll put it onto the vote, but I don't want you to vote, so don't vote until Dick says to vote. But you can still request to speak. I'm sorry, I will be looking into that.
Okay. Nobody wants to talk, so let's vote.
We don't want to vote yet because we're discussing. So we motioned and second and Ryan was gonna come up and discuss. So I have the motion by Nygaard, second by Terry Murphy.
Okay.
I just never can go to the place where it says what it's all about.
Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Morning. So this comp plan amendment is necessary to fix a boundary line issue, or I should say an encroachment issue. So in order to fix the encroachment issue, they need to have some rezones taking place, and we'll take care of that under agenda item 8A and B. But in order to allow for those rezones, we need to first do a comp plan amendment, and that's what this comp plan is for.
Any questions, discussion?
No, they should have the ability to vote. It's just a request to speak all of a sudden. It's not.
Okay, let's vote, and if it makes a funny noise, let us know.
Then we'll do it by voice. Okay, last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Okay, item C, resolution number 25, 18-19, septic maintenance fee.
Do you want me to read through this one, or did you want to just explain?
I can explain it, I guess.
Okay, sure, that, why don't you?
So what this resolution is doing is it's authorizing our office to have that $5 fee that we're already charging right now to be put on the property taxes rather than have them pay after 3 years $15 to our office. So essentially, it's the exact same level of fee. It's just that the collection of it now is going to be done as a special assessment on the property taxes rather than having to come in and pay us $15 at the end of 5 years, or 3 years.
Is there a motion for approval? Supervisor Moore?
Move that we approve.
Okay, there's a motion by Supervisor Moore to approve. Mr. Nygaard?
Second.
And a second by Mr. Nygaard. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Wait, I'm on there requesting to speak.
So am I.
Supervisor Ellis, okay. You back it up. Okay, we got you. Supervisor Zog, do you have it?
Mr. Ellis?
Is the county aware of the number of people that should not be getting this assessment? Do we have an accurate list of
Yes.
those that don't have septics?
Yes, we keep a list of, on the new septic systems and all the systems that have been abandoned. So that's something that we maintain as the year goes. Yep.
Okay.
12,000.
Yeah, it's 12,800, something around there, total septic systems.
Supervisor Craig?
Thank you. I understand the pros and cons of the septic maintenance fee being put on the tax bill. The state of Wisconsin has mandated that the septic tanks be pumped every 3 years, and the county had to monitor the program and ensure its compliance. Waupaca County decided to charge the septic tank owners a fee to cover the costs of tracking the compliance. Now the Planning and Zoning Department wants to put that fee on the tax bill so that the Planning and Zoning Department does not have to collect the checks for the fee. I did not agree with the fee when it was first instituted. This illustration shows that in July of 2018, 46 out of 71 counties do not charge a septic maintenance fee. There's about half of them, of the other 25, that put it on with their maintenance fees that they collect themselves, and then the other 13 put it on as a special charge to the property tax bill. I am not voting for the septic maintenance fee to be put on the tax bill as a special assessment and collected by the local municipalities. I understand that our county treasurer collects for some local municipalities and also does not charge for this service, but I think he should. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Mr. Dog?
We need a second, correct?
No, we have our.
Supervisor Pullman?
My question is, do you keep track of the residences that have more than one tank, and will you be charging separate fees per tank?
It's per septic system, because sometimes may not be installed at the same time, so they'd be in at different intervals in terms of the maintenance program.
But you're only charging one fee?
The fee would be based on that system. So one system may need to be serviced 1 year, and then the next system may need to be serviced the next year. So it'd be on a separate track.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Mr. Quistman?
I think one of the pluses to this situation is the fact that with all the new stuff that's coming into the zoning office on a daily basis, this is one thing that eliminates, or I should say reduces, a lot of the hourly load, or the load off the staff as far as collecting these bills and sending out all these cards and so on and so forth. I think it's a definite plus.
Thank you, Dennis. Mr. Gerald Murphy?
Yes. I'm wondering, you mentioned about abandoned septic systems. How far back do we have records for that?
We have records go back to the 70s.
Okay. Because I know around the chain of lakes, when they put in their sewer system, there were quite a number of septic systems that then were abandoned. Now, what is the impact on them with this, on the tax bill? Anything?
This would have no effect. If they're abandoned systems and they're already off our radar in terms of they're off of the maintenance program.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Anyone else? Mr. Nygaard?
I just want to say there's a cost to everything, and I'm not thrilled with more costs either, but by doing it this way, I feel we're being transparent with the cost of the program. It's not tucked away in the budget, buried somewhere. It's just a cost to everything, and we aren't asking for an increase. We're just asking for a different way of taking care of it.
Mr. Terry Murphy?
Yeah, Rand, just because, we take their money every 3 years, does that mean that they get it done, or do we still have to check on that?
Part of the system is that after 3 years, we still send them a notice saying that their septic system needs to get serviced. So we still need to ensure compliance, that someone's going out there to service the system. So the $5 a month, a year, that's really separate. That's part of the maintenance program. But once we send out at that 3rd year, we send a letter out to that property owner saying, you're at your third year. So we need to get a form back from the plumber saying that, yes, I was out there, everything is working the way it's supposed to. And part of this project is that we're gonna be creating a user interface on our website. So all the plumbers and all the septic maintainers would be able to do this all digitally. So now they'd be able to do it in their truck or at their home office or whatever the case may be. So they won't have to actually hand us back the forms, they'll be able to do it all themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else? Seeing none, please vote.
Supervisor Pullman? Did it not do it? Thank you. Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23 to 2.
Next item is resolution number 26, 18-19, 2019, Waupaca County Employee Wage Salary.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does hereby authorize an annual compensation increase of 2% effective 1/1/2019 for wage salaries of employees paid in accordance with Waupaca County Employee Wage Schedule.
A motion for approval? Mr. Vasquez?
I make the motion that we approve that.
Thank you, Peter. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Spearings?
Make a motion to second that.
Okay, thank you. Questions or discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 24 to 1.
Next, we have resolution number 27, 18-19, staffing new positions, 2019.
Now therefore let it be resolved, the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does hereby approve the new positions expansions for the 2019 as listed above.
Mr. Johnson?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Johnson to approve. Mr. Terry Murphy?
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Terry Murphy. Questions or discussion?
Shannon, were you just motioning?
I wanted to second it, but since he did.
Okay, so can you turn off your request to speak?
Supervisor Ritchie, you indicated that you would like to speak.
That was at the last question.
Sorry. Any others? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25 to 0.
Next, we have item F, resolution number 28, 1819, proposed 2019-2021 child support funding.
Now therefore be it resolved by the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors that the grant of easement and authorize as presented. Oops, I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. I apologize. Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors respectfully requests the state funding for county child support agencies be increased by 1.5 million GPR in each financial year of the 2019 through 21 Wisconsin state budget, which will generate approximately $3 million in additional federal funding each year. It is further resolved that the copy of this resolution be forwarded to the county clerk, to the governor of the state of Wisconsin, Waupaca County state senators and representatives, the secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Administration, and the Wisconsin Counties Association for consideration.
We have a motion for approval. Mr. Christman,
Move to approve.
motion by Mr. Christman for approval. Do we have a second? Mr. Gerald Murphy,
Move to the second motion.
and a second by Mr. Gerald Murphy. Questions or discussion? Seeing none,
Mr.
Mr. Nygaard.
Could we get just a little brief overview on the mechanics of this, just for the benefit of everybody in the room? Don't have to go into depth, just some quick explanation of how this will bring in more funding.
The federal government matches state GPR revenues to the child support program. So if we put in, if the state, it increases the budget to all county child and tribal child support agencies by 1.5 million, we'll get that matched to total $3 million. So and what the programs pride themselves on efficiencies. So for every $1 that's spent to collect, we recoup $5. So, and I'd like to point out, since we're talking, is the paragraph on how much the staff of 5 and Assistant Corporation Counsel, B, and myself have collected in 2017 for the, we have about 3,300 cases that we manage through the child support agency. So that's over $8 million last year in collections.
Supervisor Boyer.
And I think that you should be congratulated for being second in the nation for collecting. It's great.
If you're wondering who's number 1, it's Pennsylvania.
Any other questions? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0. Thank you.
Okay, the last resolution before us is resolution number 29, 1819, grant of easement.
Now let's read this one. Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors that they grant an easement to authorize as presented and shall proceed under the terms of the conditions set forth herein. It is further resolved that the County Board Chairman and County Clerk are authorized to execute instruments necessary to complete the transaction referred to herein. Said documents have previously been reviewed and approved by Corporation Counsel and the Highway Commission.
Mr. Myersdorf is here for.
I could show the photo of it, but essentially what's going on, to build our new highway facility off of County Trunk Highway A south of Waupaca, We Energies provides the electrical service on the overhead power lines. Well, the power lines to service our new facility are going to be underground, and so them underground lines need to have an easement granted to We Energies to provide electrical service to the back side of that facility where their transformer is set up. So that's kind of what we're looking to get permissions, or the county resolution on, is to get electrical service to our new highway facility, and We Energies would have an easement over the top of that electrical area. So if something gets hit, it breaks, something doesn't function correctly, We Energies maintains and operates all electrical infrastructure to include the big transformer to the back side of the facility. That's it.
Is there a motion for approval? Mr. Fleece?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fleece. Supervisor Craig?
Second, and could we also see the picture?
Yes. Yes, please, Scott.
I thought it was in the packet. I can see that survey.
I have a diagram of what We Energies is proposing for where it's going to be placed.
I'll just pop in your flash drive. Show me which one it is.
flash, you know, to show it. Why not? Keep on it. Let's see what it is.
No, it's a survey map.
All right, so here's the form we had to fill out, and it would, your resolution would be attached to it. As we get a little bit lower, this page right here is a diagram of what's actually taking place. So let me back up one more step to make it a little bit maybe easier. Right here is County Trunk Highway A. Here's the power lines that run along the west side, paralleling County Highway A. Here's the north driveway that would access the new highway facility. And this area right here is where the new power lines are going to go underneath the blacktop along the back side of the facility. And right here is where the big transformers are that are going to be located. So this area along the north and west side of the highway facility is the easement that we're granting We Energies to place their underground electrical.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me switch those back
Any other questions?
on the map before I switch it.
Okay, any other questions? We will vote. Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Okay, we're back up to number 8, ordinances and amendments to the General Code of Ordinances. A is 2018-660, amendment to Chapter 34, petition number Z-017-18, Town of Farmington. Judith M. Sopa for a zoning map amendment from RC-N district to SR district. Ryan?
So what Judy Sopa is looking at doing in this property, she's going to be repurposing an existing tavern and turning it into a residence. In order to do that, she needs to be rezoned into the sewer residential district. It is compliant with the town comp plan. That area is planned as hamlet, which allows for a mix of commercial and residential use.
Do you have a motion for approval?
I'm trying, right?
Yes.
It's all right.
It's my day.
Mr. Nygaard?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Nygaard to approve. Supervisor Lair?
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Lair. Any questions, discussion? Please vote.
Wait,
Supervisor.
yeah, okay.
Oh,
I
I'm
have three
sorry.
people flashing. I have Supervisor Terry Murphy. Do you want to speak here?
No, I wanted to second the motion.
Okay.
And I, okay, just did the wrong one.
Supervisor Pullman?
Where exactly is this and what tavern?
Did you bring that map up?
I will try my best.
So this is Q here. I don't actually know the name. There's somebody else in the, it's been a tavern for some amount of years.
Murphy's Pub.
Is that what it was, Murphy's Pub?
Pretty sure.
Murphy's Pub, okay.
Grandview Road. I sold it 100 years ago.
Is that it? Any other questions before we vote? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Item B is 2018-661, amendment to Chapter 34, petition number Z-018-18, Town of Scandinavia, Charles J. and Christine A. Diesler, for zoning map amendment from AE District to PBR District.
So this rezone is necessary to fix an encroachment issue that they have. Their house goes right through the property line. And in order to fix the issue, they're trying to bring the property line just to the north. And by doing that, they have two, oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Their house is sitting right here, right on this property line. And what they're doing is they're taking this property line, they're moving it up here. But this is owned Ag Enterprise, this is owned PBRF, and they want this to be attached to this. In order to be able to do that, they need to rezone this portion to PBRF.
Motion for approval. Mr. Johnson?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Johnson for approval. Do we have a second? Mr. Nygaard?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nygaard. Questions or discussion? Please vote.
Supervisor Zog, I think you hit yours a little early and it didn't register. And you want to clear your request to speak? Never mind, got it. Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Okay, the last item here in item 8, ordinances and amendments, is C, 2018-662, amendment to Chapter 34, petition number Z-01918, Town of Scandinavia, Charles J. and Christine A. Diesler, for zoning map amendment from AE District to RR-O District.
So this is the second part of the same project. So once they create that, with this parcel line, you move it up here, they're creating a new parcel to the north. And it's inside a farm preservation. So by creating that new parcel, they need to rezone that to rural residential overlay.
Motion for approval. Mr. Fedowitz?
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
There's a motion by Mr. Fedowitz for approval, and Supervisor Laird.
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Laird. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Thank you. We will now take a short 8-minute break. Okay, next we're down to report. So we have a report, sheriff presentation, Sheriff Ardell.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, we don't do this enough. Recognize really good quality work from our folks. So we have an opportunity to do that a little bit with a couple of instances that have happened recently. So I'd like to start with calling Deputy Brian Storbush up, please. Deputy Brian Strobush began employment with the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office in 2013. In 2016, Deputy Strobush was assigned to the Drug Enforcement Unit at the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office and became a member of the Central Wisconsin Drug Task Force. While working within local communities, Deputy Strobush identified a problem with our outdated and ineffective Drug Endangered Children program, which is called the DEC. While working with our local communities, he noticed that the program was ineffective and needed some help. A DEC program is a multidisciplinary team commonly comprised of members from law enforcement, human services, prosecutors, the medical community, the health department, and probation and parole. Through the DEC program, organizations within a community work together to enhance their response to the immediate needs of drug-endangered children and to gather adequate evidence to substantiate prosecution of appropriate endangerment and other charges. Frustrated with the system, he believed there was a better way to protect children within our communities. Deputy Strobush decided he could make a difference. Deputy Strobush contacted individuals within the state who were considered DEC experts, and he learned ways Waupaca County's program could be more successful. Deputy Strobush partnered with our local Department of Health and Human Services and DEC experts in the state to rewrite our whole program. Deputy Strobush presented the new protocol to the head of each law enforcement agency within Waupaca County, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services, Waupaca County District Attorney's Office, Waupaca County Probation and Parole, and the Gold Cross Ambulance. Each partner agreed to join and participate in our local program for the safety and well-being of our children. Deputy Strobush organized experts to hold joint training sessions and invited each law enforcement agency within Waupaca County, along with the rest of the DEC partners. This joint training ensured each individual within the program would have the same training and ensured they understood each other's role to make the program effective and successful. On August 7, 2018, Deputy Strobush attended the Wisconsin Alliance for Drug Endangered Children Conference, along with the staff of the Waupaca County Department of Health and Human Services, and he was recognized for the Waupaca County's new DEC program. Since the formation of our new program, Deputy Strobush and the rest of our team have already responded to several DEC type of calls for service. Together, our team has been able to provide resources and services our old program would have failed to provide to children within our county and our community. Thank you, Deputy Strobush, for both identifying problems with an existing program and recognizing the need for changes in the way the program dealt with drug-endangered children. You were instrumental in helping instrument and implement these changes through the collaboration of the county-wide effort. The changes, educated team members, updated procedures, and strengthened our relationships within the county. I know you invested a lot of your valuable time, Ryan, on top of your already heavy workload. I'm proud of you. Your knowledge, hard work, and leadership, in not only with this program, but in every investigation you are involved in. Your commitment to service to Waupaca County is appreciated and does not go unnoticed by myself or the rest of our staff or the members of our community. Thank you.
I know that today we're talking about me involved in this, but this is much larger than me. As he kind of talked about, this is a joint effort between us and Chuck and DHS and his staff and people that are still here and some people that have moved on since then. But this is definitely not about me. This is it has been a team effort since day one when we started working on this. So. To the other people that aren't here, they had a huge role in making this work too. So, thank you.
Next, if I could have Deputy Pat Marshals come forward. On Thursday, September 6, 2018, at 3:15 p.m., the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office received a report of a 92-year-old woman missing from her home. Catherine Gwendolyn Wenkus, aka Kitty, was reported to have left her residence on foot near the city of Waupaca, Wisconsin. Deputy Pat Gorshals was a member of the initial response team. Upon Deputy Gorshals' arrival, he assumed the role of incident commander. An incident commander is the individual responsible for all aspects of emergency response, including quickly developing incident objectives, managing all incident operations, application of resources, and the role, as well as responsibility for all persons involved. Deputy Gorshals recognized the seriousness and large scope of the situation. He immediately requested mutual aid from several area agencies, including law enforcement, fire, and EMS. The search for Catherine totaled approximately 19 hours. On Friday, September 7th, 2018, at 10:03 a.m., Catherine was found during a secondary ground search by a team consisting of volunteers, firefighters, and law enforcement. Catherine was transported to a hospital by Theta Star ambulance, air ambulance. On Wednesday, September 12th, 2018, Catherine was released from the hospital. Deputy Gorshals was able to meet with Catherine and her family for an emotional reunion. Throughout the rescue efforts, the following resources were utilized during the search for Catherine. Air searches by helicopters, 2 drones from different departments, boats, dive teams, canines from multiple agencies and organizations, rescue horses, law enforcement, neighborhood canvases, volunteer search teams, and thermal imaging technology that was utilized throughout the night. Surrounding businesses allowed officers to view surveillance videos and donated provisions for rescue teams. The search for Catherine included over 425 people from 28 different departments, organizations, and volunteers as far-reaching as Illinois. Deputy Gorshals showed exemplary leadership, drawing from his extensive experience. In addition to serving 19 years as patrol deputy for the Sheriff's Office, he was a corrections officer and dispatcher for Waupaca County also. Deputy Gorshals has served as captain for the Waupaca Police Fire Department and as an EMT for the city of Waupaca. Deputy Gorshals has taken several classes in incident command, helping prepare him for coordinating large-scale operations such as this. I'm very proud of Pat for his unparalleled leadership as incident commander. When Deputy Gorshals coordinated such response, he does so with a calm, decisive, and compassionate tone. Deputy Gorshals' dedication is a model example of public service. The Waupaca County Sheriff's Office is fortunate to have Deputy Gorshals to serve the citizens of Waupaca County. Thank you, Pat. I just want to say thank these 2 guys for their work, and it's not just these 2 guys. We have an unbelievable, exceptional staff, and they're all part of this team that makes this place go. And I can't say enough of their professionalism and the way they operate. So I want to thank them all, and I want to thank you for your time that we could recognize these guys this morning.
One more thing for everybody, Kitty is here.
Yes, she is.
So let's have a round of applause for Kitty, if she could stand up.
I want to thank you, Sheriff, for your department, your excellent people, and what they've all done for the benefit of Waupaca County and all of us in outdoor safety. Your profession has really taken some tough hits lately, but this is an example of why we highly regard your profession and what you do here for Waupaca County, your men. Thank you guys very much. Okay, let's visit with Casey Byersdorf and see what's happening in his like a busy. Nice shooting large deer.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning, County Board again. So, as our group in the back is congratulating each other, it's pretty cool stuff. Another cool thing we're doing at the Highway Department is continuing the construction of our new highway facility. I'm going to just show a very wet picture. It's a video. It's the second one, Jill. It's about 3 weeks ago. We had a drone fly over the top of our highway facility project, and our highway committee indicated that that'd be pretty neat to show the progress. Now this is about 3 weeks ago. This drone was shot, and you're seeing a lot of black sand. That's the participation we're getting from the Waupaca foundry in delivering their black foundry sand as fill material for our facility. There's some areas where you can specifically see black lines. That's where the storm sewer is being installed. It was very, very wet right after they had taken this photo. Unfortunately, in the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty dry for us. At this point in the project, we have a little over 1,000 feet of footing. Concrete footings have been installed. The walls are actually, the frost walls are starting to be poured. We're focusing a lot on the mechanics bay because that's where we're going to be able to put up the steel structures first to get a lot of the contractors working throughout the winter time. I'm anticipating to show the county board an updated drone video every month so you can not only see a picture of it in your pamphlet, but then also see a video. Let me tell you, in the last 3 weeks since this drone was shot, a lot more has happened, so it looks a lot more cleaner than it does here. But the foundry, at this point, we've put them on halt. They've hauled approximately 42,000 tons of foundry sand to our project, which is material we would have had to have found anywhere. In replacement of that, they're actually helping fund our crews to place it for them. And it's a place for a local business to get rid of their foundry sand underneath asphalt pavement, so to speak. So I thought it was kind of neat to show this project from a video. You can kind of see the outline of a portion of the building. It's tripled in size since this photo was taken. So like I said, there's over 1,000 feet of footing poured down. Everyone should have received digitally in their packets, we didn't do paper this time, but digitally, it's the monthly progress report that Myron helps us create. We did have to go back and rebid out 3 different bid packages, which included the waterproofing of the service pit where the oil is being collected. We had to bid out the lockers because we did not receive locker bids the first time. And then we received a bid from the exterior concrete, all the approach slabs, for the scale of the islands, around the footings of the buildings, the sidewalks and curb and gutter. So that all occurred in this last month. Outside of that, we're just trying to get as much in the ground as possible before it freezes. We're having not monthly, but Monday morning meetings where we're meeting with new contractors. For instance, just this last Monday, we met with the contractors that are going to be building the salt sheds. So with that, they bring in their different materials for roof colors, and we have to match that roof color with the cold storage building's roof colors, so at least everything kind of matches after it gets built using different suppliers, different contractors. So little odds and ends, things like that are taking place. Today they're having a meeting to talk about keying, and different keys provide different, you could have a Grand Master key, which opens up every building in the county highway facility. Then there's a Grand Master, which basically I have to open up certain ones. And then there's master keys. So today they're having meetings about who has permissions to use different types of keys. So little meetings like that are nonstop. Right around the Thanksgiving week is when I told that we're going to have our first great big flat slab that gets poured for the administration building. So that'll be pretty neat to see big flat slabs of concrete getting poured in the admin part of the project, or portion of the project. Outside of that, we've had no hiccups with our guaranteed maximum price. That month, the last month in August and that month of September when it rained so much, there might be an indication that we're going to move the project schedule back next year in October about a month, but that's just forecasting future discussions at this point. So with that, the project's going well. You're more than welcome to come drive it with me sometime if you want to get hands-on or walk the project, just bring your hard hat and your vest and your safety glasses and all of that. So it's pretty neat.
Very good. A couple quick questions for Casey? I guess not. Thanks for keeping us informed. This is really good coming on every month, and this is a huge project, very important project, and I'm sure glad to see you, the general of this team.
Yes. If you're going to want to talk a little bit more about it, our old highway facility right now is getting an appraisal on it.
Okay.
So we haven't received the numbers back from that. Outside of that, it's moving along.
Yeah, I had one question for you. You know, Casey was an outstanding center fielder for the Marion Meisters. What did you used to do when you played the Clinton Blaze?
Win.
that story changed all of a sudden.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're down to my report. I have no report, but we do need to hear some conference reports from the WHCA conference that was held. And we'd like to be the first one to get up and say a few words about what you, Mr. Dog. You want to come to the stand, please?
Well, to begin with, all the breakout sessions you can check out on the WCA website. Even if, I think I hit 3 of them, got some notes on 2 of them that were pretty interesting. This one was run by the Von Briesen law firm of Andy Phillips and his partner, I believe his last name is Goyla. The subject matter was ethics and if it smells, stay away. So, and we have to use the F word here, but don't worry, it's a 6-letter F word. So, basically, the attorney Goyla ran most of it, and Andy Phillips put in some comments. But review the duties of a supervisor, things you can and can't do. They cited, it was really a lot of legalese. They cited like different sections of the state and federal code. One point is a strict liability statute, no proof needed, which, whatever that means, I thought you had to be proven you're innocent until proven guilty. But when you're in an elected position, you have a duty of loyalty to the citizenry. That was one statement that was emphasized. And a lot of it is more or less common sense. You can't take anything of financial gain or substantial value while you're serving in a public elected position. And you can't promise a vote on something that comes before a legislative body in return for just about anything, a free meal, financial gain, or whatever it might be. And you cannot use your elected position to benefit your family. There was some discussion of, I remember last year in the property committee, we were talking about seal coating the parking lot. You know, we got 2 different bids in there, all pretty close. We awarded to the one firm. Well, what if somebody had let's just say Dave Johnson had a brother that worked there or something. There's all kinds of fine lines to be drawn there. Is that a conflict of interest? Can you vote on that measure or not? When that does come up or did come up, the attorneys mentioned that if you vote present, that's equivalent to voting half aye and half nay. So to be on the safe side, you're best off just leaving the room and make believe you weren't at the meeting, I guess, to cover you. But a lot of this, like I said, was all a lot of legalese things, and but the smell test, I guess, is most of us have common sense. You can pretty well tell if you should do it this way or that way, or just ignore it and move on. The other thing, was at Attorney Sam Hall from Crivello and Carlson. Real nice presentation on for police with the new body cams and when you should use them and how you should retain the material that you get from there. This guy, or this law firm, I'm told by Mayor Hanky Nolan, is who they retained last year. You might recall there was a shooting on Algoma Street in London, not far from the hospital. And there was 2 police involved, and they retained these guys. There they went over technology of people that are now marketing these newer body cams. It used to be a company called Taser International, if you remember the Tasers. Now they're into the body cam business. And the other advancement there now is when they get a shot on the body cam, that can be read through a computer. If it says it could recognize people and alert an officer at a time. This is extra information that they can keep for future use. And then there's newer developments, there's panoramic views that basically can scan this whole meeting room. And the one thing that they mentioned is when, like if you imagine yourself an officer and you stop somebody and you've got the body cam on your shoulder or wherever, when should it be activated? That was the key question. And there's a couple new alternatives out there that as soon as, say, if they pull somebody over, as soon as he opens his door, that's when the thing should be activated, if not before. And depending on the different ones we have here, I don't know what the sheriff's department has or what the police have in London, but they're getting more and more advanced all the time. And essentially what this attorney said on this presentation was, you've got to be careful. You have to save the information in the photos you get, but you have to be careful of who sees it within your department. And and I know the thing is to keep, the main subject matter here was to keep your county away from lawsuits from victims as well as perpetrators. So this was probably one of the better presentations that I saw.
Good. Thank you, Fred. Peter, you were there.
I thought those guys were kidding me when they said that sometimes you get called up.
Oh, we have to have a freshman view of it.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I went to the conference. I had no idea what was going to go on or if it was anything like the SWAT conferences that I used to go to. But I found out it was really informational. There was so much good information. I could only make a few of the breakout sessions. There was other ones I would have liked to have gone to, but there's just no time. I enjoyed the facilities so much that my wife and I celebrated our anniversary last weekend in La Crosse. Took a walk down the trail along the river they have, and great restaurants, and just really cool scenery. So it was a good experience. The first one that I went to was non-metallic mining. Because of Caledonia having so many gravel pits and stuff like that, I thought I'd try and catch up on where everybody else is at with mining. Very informational, a lot of stuff moving around. A lot of the counties that were represented had way worse situations with metallic mining, with all the environmental issues they have. I went to the ethics one with Fred, and very informational. I think what he was alluding to was that with the proof was that proof of intent. you don't have to have an intent to violate the ethics portion of it. And the other big thing was that significant financial gain, the state considers that anything $25 or over is something, which I thought that's pretty low, but and somebody could get jammed up pretty easy. The breakout session was great, but then I had a really long conversation with one of the presenters afterwards, and just a wealth of knowledge. I think it's one of the attorneys that represents the county. Just a really super nice guy to talk to, and they all took time to, anybody that had a question, they waited and they answered all the questions. It was really cool. The third one I went to was with human trafficking and how it affects Wisconsin. The thing that shocked me the most was that the presenter, she runs the state program, and they were doing interviews with people that were convicted of human trafficking. And his train of thought, and he explained that it's the way most of them think, is that drugs you can only sell once, and then you have to get more drugs to sell them. And the way he presented it was people, you can keep selling them over and over and over again. So I took some of the literature and some of the posters that they had available to us, and I got them to the schools because I'm working with the schools. So the principals kind of posted them, because the new rule is that all mandatory reporters, like nurses and doctors and teachers and all that kind of, they're mandatorily, it's mandated that they report if they suspect human trafficking now too. So I thought that was really interesting. And then the other one I went to was budget development. I thought Heidi would appreciate that, so I wouldn't have to ask her all the questions. But they had a county executive in there and explaining how they go through their budget and how they kind of rein things in, and it gave me a lot to think about. They break their budget into two things that are mandated and then discretionary spending. And then anything that's discretionary gets thrown into one pot, and the full county board talks over which ones are the most important. And that's how they assign which programs get the funding. So the committees kind of have to weed out which ones are really working and which ones cost the county too much to put forward, so that by the time it's budget season, they already know which programs are kind of going to get paid and which ones aren't. And the other thing he touched on was that they do what Dick's been talking about. They have a meeting at the beginning of the year where it's posted as a meeting, but no action is going to be taken, and they take everybody out to dinner, and they have speakers come in, so it's like a day-long thing, and everybody just kind of in an informal setting gets to talk about what they're concerned with all the other members. And he said they do similar meetings throughout the year, so that by the time the budget process is done, everybody's had at least 3 or 4 kicks at the cat to talk to somebody that can influence the budget. And I thought that was kind of a good idea that blends in with the way Dick was talking about getting people more together more socially, so you can just talk things out instead of in a formal setting. Those were all the ones I went to, and man, I highly recommend that. I'll probably go next year again. It was just a really good experience for me.
Good. Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. One more. Mary Kay.
I think this is the part where we probably missed Jack the most. He always gave the best reports at those conferences. And congratulations to the Boston Red Sox. I knew he would point that out, so we'll do that. I attended several of the breakout sessions as well. Obviously, the securing county facilities, that's been my most interested area. And to getting one secure point, getting into our building has been my main concern. As we see every day in the news, some person that needs to come in and be angry with someone and shoot a few people. So that has bothered me and for a long time, that this building isn't secure in that manner. And the president always says, well, geez, if somebody would have had an armed guard, he would have taken care of him sooner. Easier said than done. Also, we had Women in County Government luncheon, and more women are being involved in the county governments now. 32% increase, I believe, in the last year, which is, well, maybe 1.8 or 2% increase. There was a lot of women at the dinner that it was their first year, and they were very excited. And one was by default that she got the position, but she was very excited about becoming a member of a county board. And I attended the human trafficking one like Pete was talking about, and that's a horrific thing that covers every county in the state of Wisconsin and numerous throughout the United States. So I guess we need to be vigilant in that area. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
One more thing, I would recommend that all of the new people and some of the ones that haven't gone for a while should go to these conferences. And this one was probably the best one I've been to.
Very good. Okay, we'll go to appointments.
Appointing supervisor, moving to the WCEDC committee.
We have a motion for approval. Supervisor Craig.
Move to approve.
Ooh, bless you. There is a motion by Supervisor Craig for approval. Do we have a second? Supervisor Lair.
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Lair. Any questions or discussion? Let's vote.
Second.
Vote. Let's slow down here.
I just have to hit the button so your buttons appear. You might have, because he said it before I was able to hit the vote, you might have to change your vote and that.
Oh,
Supervisor Joan Lee and Nygaard, the same thing. You might have to just look like you're changing your vote. You just have to give me time to hit the button. So there you go. Thank you. Last chance to vote. Motion carries 24. One abstain.
Thank you. You're making me feel at home. Now it's my job.
No. They're hitting the
That was a joke.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a reappointment of Diane Forsyth and Mike Hankins to the Owls Board for a 2-year term. Supervisor Craig?
Move to approve.
There's a motion for approval by Supervisor Craig. Supervisor Lair?
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Lair. Any questions? Discussion? Not?
Was there did I clear that?
No.
Supervisor's on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yours didn't show up.
Supervisor Murphy, Gerald, let's see. Oh, there you go. Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Thank you. Next item, we'd like to reappoint Judy Deschler to the Waupaca County Veteran Service Commission. Mr. Johnson?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Johnson for approval. Mr. Zog?
I second that.
And Mr. Zog seconded that motion. Questions or discussion? Go ahead.
Please vote. Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
I just want to, we have to thank Supervisor Bill Jonley for the delicious treats in there today. Thank you, Bill. And with that, we'd like a motion to adjourn. Mr. Police?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Police made the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Zog?
I'll second that.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming. It was a busy schedule today.